Hey, welcome. And now, if we try to log in with an account that does not exist, it's still going to take us to the main screen. Okay, now let's try this out. Within the email field, I'm just going to type something gibberish. And also for the password, I'm going to type something gibberish and then log in and wait for this. It's going to take us to the main screen. And you can see this user does not really exist, and still it took the user to the main screen. So in this lecture, we're going to be able to resolve this issue. Now to do this, first of all, I'm going to show you something. Go to the controllers folder and then the underscore, sorry, auth underscore controller to that file. And over here, we have this function called login users, and its purpose is to log in the users, right? And within the parentheses of this function called logged in users, we pass in the required field we want in order to log in the user. And over here, we created a variable called res. We created a variable called res, and default we stored a value to it, which is going to say something went wrong. And the main reason of this over here is to store the possible error. And over here, we have a try and a catch block in order to try and catch any errors. And within the try block, we have this if statement, which says if the email is not empty and the password is not empty, then only we want to be able to sign in the user with the created email and the created password. But currently you can see this current logged in account was not actually created, right? So we're going to be able to solve this. And also, what we are basically doing, we are updating this res variable to say sources, right? Because the the buyer or the customer has been successfully signed in, right? So what we have to do to resolve this error, we can have a check. Now go back to the auth folder, then the login underscore screen. And over here, we have this function called underscore login users. And its purpose is basically to call the login users function we have within the auth controller class. And over here, we have the check, and we are basically saying if those fields are valid, that is, if the fields are filled in, then only we want to be able to call this function called login users, and basically we are passing the value to those variables we have over here. Seems good. And finally, in order to resolve this error, we have to have another check. Over here, we can use Ctrl and B to make this wide first of all. And now we can store the result or the outcome of this in a variable called res. And we have to specify the type. It is a type of string because it's going to return probably a result of a test or a test error, right? Okay. And before calling this, we can make sure the user is signing in or logging in with the created email and the created password. To do this, we can have a check and we can say res is equal to sources. If it is equal to sources, the sources we are referring to is the sources we have over here. Remember, we said after the user has been successfully signed in using the credential, that is the created email and the created password, then only we want to update this uh, res variable to equal success. And if it is not equal to success, it means that user has not really been signed in or there's some other issues. And over here, we also do have the catch to catch any errors other or different from this. You're going to see this shortly. Do not worry. and back to the auth folder, then the login underscore screen, Ctrl and B, and if it is equal to success, then we can we can paste this over, copy this. If it is equal to success, we want to be able to go to the main screen. Paste this over. Okay, and if it is not equal to success, it means there is an issue. We want to then return the show snack. And for the title, it's going to be the output. That is the res. Great, and this is basically it. This is basically it. Now, I have already made this lecture, so in the future, mine is going to look something like this. But please do not be confused. It's still, you just have to keep it same because I'm basically making an update to this lecture currently. But in the future, yours, mine is going to look like this in the future. So you just have to probably add this set state. This set state is then going to be included in yours. And okay, hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. And hopefully in the future, you're not going to get confused because I already made all these lectures before. And I'm just coming back to update this because I found out that we can actually log them without using the correct uh, email and password. So please do not be confused. In the future, you should have the set state within you should have the set state within year or within year. That is if the field is not empty, you should have to set it over here, and you're gonna have the explosion to set to force like that. You're gonna have that in your horn in yours, and also over here is gonna be set to true. And so do not be confused in the future, but if you are, please do well to always let me know. And hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, now let's try to log in with an account that does not exist and see if it's gonna work. And have something gibberish over here, put in the email and password. I'm gonna type something gibberish and click on login and see what's gonna happen. We are expecting this. Okay, you can see the email address is badly formatted. Seems cool. And it is coming from this cache. Remember we said if the error is different from something like this, because over here we are basically saying we want to be able to sign in the user with the created email and the created password. And else, if the field is not empty, sorry, we are saying if the field is not empty, then only we want to be able to sign in the user with the created email and password. And if it is empty, we then want to return, we then want to show the fields must not be empty. And if the error is different from this or other from this, then we want to cache that error. And we are basically saying res equals to e dot to string. And also we are just updating this res variable. And over here we are also updating the res variable. And over here we are also updating the res variable. And over here now we are using that res variable, right? So this will basically give us the output that is if the email invalid credential or whatsoever, if it is equal to success, we want to uh, go to the main screen. It means the user is signing in with the email and password, right? That is if it is equal to success. It means the user is signing in with the email and password. And if the user is signing in with the created email and password, right, then only we want to return to the main screen. Else, that means the user is doing something wrong and we want to return that to the user. And now you can see it's currently saying email is badly formatted. And let's format this correctly, but we're not going to use a real email that we have already created. We can just use something gibberish and add the at gmail, gmail.com and see what's going to happen now. First of all, just going to, okay. Okay, you can see now. There is no user record corresponding to this method. It might have been deleted. Okay, seems good. And now we can create a new account and log into that account. And other users who has not created any accounts can no longer have access to our app. So they have to register over here in order to have an account before they can log in with it. And like I said, I'm currently making this update. I've done all this before without adding this if res is equal to success. So mine is going to look like this in the future, but I'm going to change it behind the scene to look this way. So what is missing will be this a res, so you can just keep yours like this. And hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. But in the future, you're fully going to understand what I'm referring to. Okay.